Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Minimal Viable Brand, Module 6, Internal Pricing Structure in Bid Forms. If you've been following along, the first 5, we've talked about direct mail, email, and different ways to get your collateral stuff in order. Now, I'm going to say this straight up. If you do what we told you to do in the first 5, you better be ready for 6 because you will get inquiries for work. If you market yourself, stuff happens. Now, if you don't think that's true, don't market yourself and nothing will happen. And then you go on Facebook and whine about it. But I'm telling you, if you do what I'm telling you to do, you'll get offers to work. Of course, your book has to be good enough. Of course, your website has to be good enough. You got to have good photographs, good marketable photographs. You have to have skills. But once you start pushing them out there with your direct mail and your email marketing and all that, you will get called for work. And what happens when that happens? Well, that's when the excrement hits the fan half the time because you're not ready. A client calls you up and says, hey, are you done? Got a job. I say, oh, awesome. I'm excited. It's like somebody's calling me for a job. This is cool. This is, yeah. And then he tells me he needs 24 shots of model for a lookbook, and it has to be done on location. And could I give him a price? See, if you don't know. If I ask you how much a headshot is and you don't tell me right off the bat, then what are you doing? Making it up as you go along? If you walk into a dealership and ask to buy a car, like, how much is that Ferrari over there? They tell you. They got a price. It's written down. That's what I want you to do. And that's what this module is about. Know your pricing going in. Know what a makeup artist costs. How do you do that? You call up a makeup artist. You say, hey, if I get a job and I want to hire you, how much is it going to cost? Oh, it's $500 a day. Okay, write that down. You put it into your studio manual. Now you have those numbers associated to those people, those vendors that you need to work with. It's not hard. It's not necessarily fun, but it's not hard. How much is a rental studio in your town? You better know. Is there a rental studio in your town? You better know. So do it now before the avalanche of job requests come in. Bidding jobs in photography is hard. It's a challenge. It's never going to get easy. It's never going to get easier, ever. This is what it is. I have some thoughts on bidding. Part of me says, I think people overthink the bidding process and they get worried about, oh, I'm going to leave money on the table. If you're happy with the price you quoted, go with it. Because if you get on the phone and you call 15 different photographers, they're going to give you 15 different prices. Because in this business, there's no standard. There's some rules of thumb, and you should be aware of those rules of thumb, and you should follow what the area that you're in. If you're quoting New York City prices and you live in Toledo, you're probably going to be in trouble. If you're quoting Toledo prices in New York City, probably going to be in trouble. Just different sides of the same coin. So in reality, knowing what all these costs are going to be is going to help you create a bid. So a client calls and they say, we need this and this and this. And now what do? Well, one thing you do is you start asking them questions. What's the nature of the gig? How many shots do you need? How many days are you guys estimating this is going to take? Is there travel? Is there money for an assistant? Will somebody be there to help me do the shots? Is there going to be a shot list? Will an art director be coming along? There's a lot of questions before you can come up to a bid. There's a lot of questions. Are you staying overnight? Okay. What does that mean? Well, that means you're going to have to bill for hotels and food and transportation and whatever else you need. you're going to have all those things in a row, lined up. Create a bid from strength by knowing what the prices of your vendors are going to be, because those vendor prices are going to be pretty much the same across the board for all the photographers who are bidding this job, right? Yeah. So you need to know what they are. And you also need to know how to put together a bid that makes sense and allows you to do a little negotiating. And negotiating's really a big part of this deal. Knowing how to get from A to B and have the client be happy and have you be happy. So I'm going to go over a couple of things here. Stuff that you need to know in your internal workings so that you can make a good bid. You need to have a basic list of what your fees are. How much is a headshot? How much is a drag and drop? What's your day rate? What's your half day rate? What's your minimum shoot rate? Do you have a minimum shoot rate? You better. What's a per shot product rate average? What's a per shot location rate average? What are your travel expenses normally? I mean, if you have a big motorhome, your travel expenses are going to be higher than me and my little Elantra out there. What's your assistant cost for a day? Some assistants 150 a day, some assistants 250 a day, some assistants in the middle. You got to know this stuff. And this stuff should just be, what I say is print it, put it in your studio book, a little binder right there. When someone calls, you can flip it open and give them a number right there. What's your day rate? It's $2,600. That's what you do. Flat out. It's not like, oh, this guy's calling me. What should I say? I need the job so bad. Yeah, you do, but you don't need to get screwed and you don't need to be stupid. Just need the job. This is what you've decided to charge for your job. That's what you do. We can learn a lot from people who sell stuff because they don't just make it up on the spot. I don't care if it's somebody selling a thing or somebody selling a service. When you talk to an attorney and you go, yeah, I'm having this problem. I need some lawyer advice. What do you charge? He doesn't go, oh, God, I don't know what to charge. This guy can't afford it. If I'm too high and everything. Just spouse out $300 an hour with this retainer. Boom, boom. It's business. It's business. It stopped being a hobby when you turn it into a business. That's not a hobby anymore. You got to have a reference for the folks that you work with. Modeling agencies. And do this before you get a job. You've got to go meet with a modeling agency. Get to know them so they get to know you, so that when you call up and hire a model, they're not like, who is this person? What's going on here? Because a lot of shady things can happen in that end of the business. So get over there and meet them. Say, hey, I'm new. I'm starting out. I know I'm going to need models. What are your rates? How does this work? What are your terms? And then you write it down in your studio manual. This modeling agency's 30 days. This modeling agency's 60 days. Whatever. You put it in your book. How much are your assistants going to cost? Do you know any assistants? Producers. Are there producers in your town? Freelance producers? Get to know them. Get to know them right away. Digital techs. There are digital tech in your town? Get to know them. Videographers, caterers, nearby restaurants, makeup artists, hairstylists, wardrobe stylists, prop stylists, set designers, pet wranglers, carpenters, people you need so that when you are asked to come up with a bid and they're in a hurry, you're not flailing around. You might flail around on a few, like maybe, oh gosh, a carpenter, I have never needed a carpenter, I better find a carpenter. You pick up the phone, call your local ASMP chapter. If you're a member, you call a couple of other photographers who are you using, boom, you get some set carpenters and you go to work. But if you have to do all of this, how much is a model? I got to find a rental studio and I got to, and you're trying to juggle the money, that's too painful. Take it from somebody who's 70 years old. Life's too short for that kind of self-inflicted, inflicted? Well, I just inflicted some inflicted on my pain. Self-inflicted pain is just no way to be. Other assets. Do you need to rent lenses? How much are they? Where can you get them? How fast can you get them? Same with medium format cameras, rental studios, specialty lighting, video, audio, sets, location permits. Do you know if you need a location to shoot in your town? You should. You should know what the permit costs. Or if they're free, at least how to get one. Vehicle rentals, big equipment rentals like scissor lifts. I've rented scissor lifts a couple of dozen times, scissor lifts. And I can't remember what they're called, but the crane with the little basket on it where we can go up pretty high. I've been up like, I want to say 150 feet or something. I mean, I was way up there to make some shots. So you got to know, where can you rent one? What does it cost to rent one? Because if you don't, you're just going to wallow in pain. When you bid, I want you to bid with line items. The top line item is your creative fee. And your creative fee never changes. That's what it's going to cost for you to do it. That's your money. Then we have assistance and airline flights and etc. If you're going to negotiate down, you negotiate down that line, those lists, not that top fee, because that top fee should be what you considered your best price, the best possible thing you could do to do this job. If I come to you as an art director, and I did for many years, if I come to a photographer as an art director and I ask them what their creative fee, and they go, that's $5,000. And I go, we can only squeak out $3,500. He goes, oh, okay, $3,500. Then what the hell was the $5,000? If you'll do it for $35,000, what's the $5,000? Was that you gouging me? You think I'm stupid? I'm just going to pay you the $5,000 on a $3,500 job? You just confirmed that it was worth $3,500. So when you come up with that fee, you leave it. Everything else you negotiate. So how do you do that? Well, in the airline, you're going to fly, you and your assistants, you go business class. They need to trim the budget, you can go down to coach. You put in $100 a day for food. That comes out, that's 6 days. That's $600 for you, $600 for your assistant. You guys aren't going to eat $1,200 worth of food. So you can say, okay, we can come down to $50 a day stipend for food. We can stay at a budget hotel instead of the Ritz. We can do you can find lots of ways. The more lines you have, the more negotiating room you have to make that deal. Then you'll have to make that deal. Rights. If you're doing rights, you need to tell them right up front what those rights are. Right up front. What are they getting? It goes into your bid, goes into the proposal that you send back to them. Tell them what it's going to cost them. Don't hide it. Don't pretend it doesn't exist. Okay? That's not a good way of doing business. Just isn't. And let's see, I wanted to talk about one other thing here. A couple of other items you're going to need. You're going to need a delivery memo. If you send anything, you need a delivery memo. Now today, almost everything we all do is electronic transfer. But in the case of delivering a hard drive or sending over multiple flash drives or prints or whatever, you need a delivery memo. Okay? You need a scope of agreement. This goes into your bid, your scope of agreement section in your bid. It can be a separate standalone item, but it has to be in your bid. What do they get? What are you going to do? And how much are you going to charge? And when are they going to pay? This is it. And along with that goes a change order form. If you're a professional photographer, I'm sure you've heard these words. Well, since you have your camera out, could you get a shot of the boss's office? My answer is, well, absolutely I can. Here's that change of work order. Since I was hired to do 10 shots, you want another shot, so let's put that on this change of work order so I can get it in the billing, and I'm going to head over there and get the shot. You'll find out right away if they've got it in the budget or not. Right away, instantly. They'll either say awesome and sign the work order, or they'll say, oh, never mind. Now, is that hard nosed? No, that's not hard nosed. It's business. We're in business. We're not in playtime. It's business. No other company does. No other business does that. We just had somebody paint our house. And I have a block wall in the back. I didn't go out and say, hey, Fernando, thanks, man. Great. The house is great. Since you got your paint out, could you guys paint the wall too? Why would we as photographers do that? Okay, so this is MVB6, internal pricing structure in bid forms. If you like what I'm doing here, please hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you're watching it on the class, grab this information and start building your forms out so that you have them. I appreciate very much you coming along. This class is free for every photographer who wants to take it, so let your friends know, and let's make it a more professional and better world out there. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming along. I'll see you next time.